Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. My name is Jane Applegath, a former award-winning stockbroker, television producer, yoga instructor, and serial entrepreneur. Now the founder of the Epic Vision Zone, I'm here to help you fulfill your dream's big vision, grow the power of your voice, and achieve the influence you're meant to have on the world. Because what you say and how you say it is key to being financially free and living a life of more abundance and joy. Here at the Epic Vision Zone, we bring you some of the world's most influential people to inspire you to hit the go button on your epic life. A big thank you to everyone for being here today. Malcom Forbes said that food may be essential as fuel for the body, but good food is fuel for the soul. Our guest today is Marcela Benson, a spiritual nutrition counselor, Essene Priestess, and author in Miami Beach, Florida. She is a healer, passionate poet, avid student, and spiritual teacher. Trained by Dr. Gabriel Cousens at his School of Holistic Wellness in Arizona, she graduated with a mastery in vegan live food nutrition, specializing in spiritual fasting and recovering from diabetes naturally. Marcela has studied superfood nutrition, Ayurvedic science, Chinese tonic herbalism, Amazonian herbalism, and many other healing modalities at some of the top institutions in the world. Her mission is to help the world evolve into a new way of living and eating. Her extraordinary Magnus opus coffee table book, Love, Peace, and Vegetables, is a luscious, delicious, and spiritual guide to live food cuisine. Love, Peace, and Vegetables, to give you an idea of this magnificent masterpiece, was created as an inspirational guide to bring health, spirituality, positivity, and compassion to your home. This magnificent book holds more than 18 years of research in the field of body, mind, and spirit, and vegan nutrition. Marcela brings this knowledge together as an exquisitely designed book that includes lifestyle advice, inspiration, affirmations, tips, menus, over 150 live food vegan recipes, original art, and magnificent photographs. Marcela is here today to offer some delicious information from Love, Peace, and Vegetables. Welcome, Marcela. What a pleasure it is to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Jane. It's my pleasure to be here.
Well, we can't wait to get started and unpack this incredible piece of work that you have done over so many years of your life. So tell us your story and how and why you became a leading expert in live food cuisine.
Ah, eh, well, I started uh, not knowing I was going to come into this path, really. It was definitely a spiritual decree to come into this path. My father, I grew up with my father that was a diabetic. So I knew that all his life he was sick, from open wounds on the feet and losing an eye and calcifications in the heart, all the complications that diabetes brings to life. And, you know, it, and around 18, I knew I wasn't going to live in Argentina. Already by the age 15, I became a vegetarian. And one of my first teachers in yoga, one of my mentors was Matashi Indra Devi. And one day I was at a theater where she was, the first time that I met her, she was doing um, reflexology analysis. So she put an apple in a hand, and then she tested the hand, and the hand tested strong, and then she put sugar. It was very, very basic back then. And she put sugar in the other hand, and then you all of a sudden you lose all reflexes. So you had no strength. That really opened up my mind to say, what is this? Reflex analysis. Can you really test the muscles? And I was really fascinated by that demonstration. And my path started really through the yogic path, in the Vedics, through meditation, through fasting. Actually, at 16 I started fasting. That was my first fast, and it was
Mm.
far from spiritual, with a spiritual surprise.
As
So
spiritual surprise.
far from spiritual, coming from me being 15 and a half, 16 years old, because what I wanted at that age was to just lose weight. And I
Mm.
had the opportunity of going into the mountains in Argentina, in a place who were experts in fasting. And they were experts in a mountain. It was a mountain diet that they used to do. So they would feed you bite sizes every 2 hours, so you had enough energy to climb the mountain, and then from that they will take you into a fasting. And my fasting
Mm.
was 21 days with water, just water and corn barb, which corn barb is those strings that are around the corn cob, and they boil that, which are very, very, very good for the kidneys as a diuretic and for cleansing. And as I started my fast, my 21-day fast at that early age, all of a sudden, just by intuition, I said, wow, I should practice everything I learned this year about meditation. And I
Mhm.
did. And I did. And I kept doing it. And I kept praying and blessing and feeling grateful about life, something that usually at 15, 16, you're not very grateful. You're like, you don't like your parents, you don't like your friends, you know.
Yeah, the
But
world's
something with,
against you.
yes,
Yeah.
but something happened to me in the fasting without me understanding, because at 16, what can you understand about what's happening? You just go with it, which I did go with it. And I started feeling gratefulness, and the gratefulness was so great that I started um, meditating even deeper and even longer, and even taking my little chair out to the mountains even further, until one day I had, from gratefulness, from deep heart gratefulness, grace came, and I understood from a very, very spiritual point of view that I was one with the world.
Mm.
And, back then I thought, did I go crazy? What happened to me? That's a very strange thing, And then, I calmed myself, because I said, look, Marcela, you're hearing only words of love. You're not, nothing went wrong in your mind. Nothing is wrong. Just go with it. And that's when I acquired the love of poetry.
Mm.
See? So later on in life, everything that I meditated for and everything, it started unfolding in my life. And as I looked back, I realized where all this unfoldment came from, from that specific moment of meditation, for that specific moment of oneness and connection. And then my path starting to unfold, even though I was not very friendly with the idea, okay? Because I didn't want to
Mhm.
have anything to do with diet,
Mm.
nutrition. I'm like, I don't I don't want to know, because I saw my father always with the cucumbers and this and that. And I'm like, oh, what a terrible thing. I don't want to do that. So then by the time I was 19, I went to fashion school, and I loved it and I had a lot of fun. And by the time I was 24, I had my first son. So I got married at 20. And and that's when my path really, really, really started. I realized that if I was going to take my whole family into vegetarianism and then into veganism, I needed to learn.
Right.
So yes, yes.
So
And that's
that's
where
where the studies,
yes, that's
that's a
what I start to
magnificent,
study.
yeah, magnificent story of your journey. Oh my gosh. It's almost as though it was meant to be, because as you said, you questioned it a lot on the way. And even when you felt that oneness, it's interesting that you thought, I think I've gone crazy. Because it would be such a shock, especially to a person that young and in your teens. So that is such an inspirational story. I could see where the passion now comes from this, for the book. So Marcella, when you created this beautiful masterpiece, because that's how I see it, and it's really a history of your life's journey, what was your intention when you created Peace, Love, and Vegetables?
Yes. Well, my intention was to change. First of all, I started because I needed to change my life. You know, you teach what you need to learn the most. And then the other thing is that I was already teaching all over the world with Dr. Cousens in South America, in Europe. Um, and my students were, Marcela, you have to write a book. You have to. And then, of course, you know, the family, you know, you have to. And then I went innocently. I said, I'm going to go and start. And I did. But my intention behind it is that I wanted to teach. For me, the most important thing is not to teach so much nutrition and in dietetics, but a life with joy, a life with purpose. I've noticed through teaching that the kitchen and the dinner plate or the lunch plate could be a place of trauma for many. You know, a place where they did not have a family, a place where they did not have the support of healthy food, or they were not close to nature. And for me, it's always okay, how do I bring back the inspiration to that? And I felt like just a cookbook for me did not cut it. I wanted to bring poetry. I wanted to bring, because it's a state of mind. It's not about what you cook, it's also how you prepare it, you know, and
Mm.
bringing into life, you know, it's like, why do we want to be so healthy for? That was my question. What is so important about being so healthy, you know? And for me, my answer was the importance of being healthy is to pursue the desires of your soul.
Mm.
And in the pursuit of the desire of my soul, I came to do this masterpiece that had to do with art. It has to do with thinking positively. It has to do with non judgment, an invitation. And in fact, I designed the book, Love, Peace, and Vegetables, as you see, like an invitation, because I wanted to
Oh,
invite you. Yes, yes, I wanted to feel invited into bringing these changes, not obligated, not because you're sick, not because, you know, although if you're sick, you do some of these, you know, it's going to upgrade your life. But I don't want it to convince or evangelize anybody. Just try it out. You know, it's fun, it's delicious, it's deep, it's beautiful, you know, like, and I think through beauty, it's so much nicer to get things done.
that's beautiful. Yes, the beauty of life. I mean, that's what it is. It's the beauty of life. Like you said, it's for your soul. It's opening you up, and it's feeding your soul is what it is. Correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, bringing the seemingly mundane task of making food for you or your family or whoever you're making food for into creating that also as a sacred space in your life where you can find yourself in complete connection, you know?
I
And
love it.
yeah.
Yeah, it completely shifts your relationship with food, and I could certainly see that from the yogic standpoint. It's going to take a lot of education and hopefully some insight for the North American community because fast food is, as we know, it's all not so good for us. But this book has so much, and it's also an inspiration. So tell us about all of the unique art in the book and the poetry. So from what you're telling me, I feel that the food inspired your poetry. I know that you said that you connected with poetry earlier on, but the unique art and the poetry, give us some insight into that.
Well, the unique art is made by a dear friend of mine, Made Griawan. He's an artist, a renowned artist from Bali, the area of Batuan. Batuan it is an area where a river goes right straight through, but when it splits, this is where Batuan is in the center. And they were designated as the royal painters, the royal receiver of the sacred feminine. And
Mm.
they paint, what they paint is this Batuanese art that has to do with the waves of life. Yes. And as they paint, also is a meditation. And most of the times, is Vedic mysticism. It's all about
Mm.
the stories of Vedic mysticism. In my case, he did something special for my book with the same technique, and it was very interesting because I have bought on before from him some paintings, and I admire his work because he is the Batuanese art who went out of the norm. So basically, all of the Batuanese art prior before him, they were very, very classically trained. And he
Mhm.
felt that all of these mystic stories needed a sense of humor, needed, and this is what he painted with a sense of humor. And for me, it was important because for me, joy is at the top of the list when doing anything. Joy and blessings is at the top of the list when coming to any change,
Right.
and he saw the work that I was doing. I shoot for 3 months in Bali, then I had to come back for it again, and he saw the work that I was doing, and he told me, Marcela, I think, I said, can you do the art for me? And he says, I've never done art for a book because he's not an illustrator. He is a classically trained artist, a painter. And he did it. And also, so now I'm sold out, but we did a whole plan together. We said, we're not going to do charity. We're going to collaborate as two human beings, setting up the energy for the world in a different way. And he says, with the money that I'm going to earn from my art, when you sell your book, I will have money for supplies for the children in my neighborhood to continue to teach for free the Batuanese art, the spiritual art
Mm.
of Batuanese
Beautiful.
painting. Yes, 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 yes. So that stage is 100% completed. But it is that those stories in life which they bring you closeness to the oneness of human collaboration.
Yeah.
So this book, you will, you feel that because it's all done, every little piece, with human collaboration, people who were incredibly amazing in my life, like this painter, the photographer, who camped out with me for 3 months. The last pictures, he says, that's it, my camera is broken, Marcela.
He had enough. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So
But
anyway, so
that's
they are,
that's
yes.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So that's a little bit of the story of the art. I can go on and on and on, but the people behind, my book, the partners in crime, they're all amazing people. Yeah.
So the poetry then was that's all of you, correct? Am I correct in saying that the poetry is yours?
Yes, yes, the poetry is
Yes.
mine. There is one, the first poem, actually, my best friend and my chief in editor, is one of her poems. And I just asked her because she gifted it to me after she had a spiritual encounter and very special experience. And she says, Marce, I want to give you something. And she gave me this poem, and I loved it so much. And I said, can I please open up my book with this poem? So that's the only one that I didn't write, but all of the other ones I did. And those were poems I had through the years that I felt that they were somehow part of this book.
Right. Connected. Yes,
They were
absolutely.
connected. Everything is connected. And I was like, oh, wow, that fits there. That just fits there. And That's what happened.
Well, it's almost that flow that is in the book. It's all connection. It's the connection
Yes.
of different lives, different artworks, different inspiration. And speaking of that, the inspiration of food. So that's where did you get the inspiration for the incredible recipes? The book is worthy of a 3-star Michelin chef and Bon Appetit. There's no question. I mean, it is absolutely magnificent. So, where is all of this flow that's coming in the connection? Where did you get that inspiration for the recipes?
Well, I have been in the kitchen. I was very lucky that the kitchen in my home was always a place of love. Yes. So I was never told, do not cook, do not make this, or, so the place for the kitchen, it was always a sacred place in my home. And my grandmother and my great grandmother, who were incredible cooks and hostess. So a lot of it, I stand on their shoulders, really. And and all the inspiration for all the recipes, it's been, just wanting to explore with different textures and different tastes and different fruits and different vegetables. Did you know that there is more than 24,000 edible plants? And
Oh,
yes, yes.
oh,
So, like, when they tell me, oh, well, so what do you eat? Well, I said, I haven't tasted everything in the world. There is about 24,000 plants, edible plants in the world. And through traveling and through seeing the different, and my family comes from uh, different parts in the world, so I have a little bit of all of that. And then by being trained with herbs and super herbs and all of these, I wanted to show people, like, look, you can have this in your pantry, and it can be part of your soup, and it can be healing, and it can be delicious. And so all of my recipes are created with that in mind. Okay, let's renew our, most of the people eat about 10 foods, and that's it
mhm.
through their lives that they repeat. And so the idea was, okay, how can I bring people into get inspired to have more herbal, more spices, more different things in the food that are actually healthful. You have anti-inflammatories like the turmeric, and then you have saffron, which I love to use, which is excellent for the hormonal system. You see the different colors, the myriad of colors of all of the fruits and vegetables, bringing together an incredibly delicious food. So healthy food does not need to be bland, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Well, that's that sounds it's almost like you became the mad scientist within the kitchen, because it's always fun, but with your background and your knowledge and your expertise, not only does it become a modality of flavors that you're creating, but also the healing aspect that the tastes and different textures that you're adding to the food, which is it really bumps it up. It makes it not only, like you said, taste good, but it's also super healthy. And like you said, all we need to do is add a little bit of here and here. And it's very interesting that you said that throughout our lifetime, we usually only eat about 10 foods, which is so true. When you said that, I thought of it and I thought, oh my gosh, she's right. So we need to mix it up a little bit and experiment to get us out of our comfort zone, right? That's where we grow, in fact. So that's really interesting. So in your book, I was reading, and you've placed a lot of information on water. Now you have water is the key theme, and talk about why this is so essential and what people need to know about water.
Yes. Well, water is essential because we are beings of water. The
Mm,
world, if you look at the world, uh, the inhabitable part of the world is what, 29%, 27%, and the rest is water. In ourself, we are 87, 78, depends if you're dehydrated or not, or maybe less if you're chronically dehydrated. And if you do want true health, water is the first thing you should put your attention on.
Right.
And are you absorbing the water? It is a water full of plastic. That's a problem.
Mm.
Is it your water from tap water that it has things that your body definitely doesn't need? And if we're in a city, for example, if you live in the country, how should you look at the water? Well, maybe you can go to a spring that is not so far away and get your water from a spring if you know that the spring is not contaminated. Or if you're in a city like me, I'm in Miami, what do you do? What to do? What to do if you're working, and you don't have time to prepare your water. See, so all of these tips I added in the book, so from, and I give you, I never tell you you should do this. I said I give you the options, and
Mhm.
usually is from the top, my favorite, second favorite, third favorite, fourth favorite. And I usually, like, I start my book with water. That's my top thing that I'm teaching you. I
Right.
follow with salt. That's my second important thing. I follow with fermented foods. And these are three pillars for health,
Mm.
you
Right.
know? And having good hydration in your body, especially now, we live really in an electropolluted world, and we are being completely dehydrated. Just the action of speaking to you, the
Mhm.
voice, it is sound and moisture, it's air and moisture. That's how the sound is created. So as we
Mm.
speak, moisture is coming out of our body. So it's so important that I don't have water with me now.
Oh, no. Oh my gosh.
but it's good to say, why? Because there is not such a thing as perfection. There
Right.
isn't.
No, I
So
agree.
so I always laugh, and I soften up, because I don't want people to say, oh, we all make mistakes all the time. I love to point that at mine, because by no means I want to be perfect, because then I'll be bored. I'm always a work in progress all the time. It's my life is a work in progress. My learning, my being in this world, teaching, it's a work in progress. So water is very important because of that, because we need to replenish who we are, and who we are in this matter is a lot of water. The more water
Yeah.
we have also, and the right water we have, the higher our firing in our brain will be, the more conductivity we are going to have when meditating, for example. The more
Right.
moisturized our joints will be to do yoga.
Mhm. Yeah, the benefits just go on and on. I mean, I love what you said that water replenishes us. That is so that says it all. It's replenishing. I just have a question for you. I know a couple of individuals who don't like water because it doesn't taste like anything, or maybe it's the taste of their water. But do you have any tips for those individuals? Because I know we all need to hydrate, and it's not putting sugar in it because that's even worse for you. Um, do you have a recommendation for some people who don't like the taste of water?
Yes, yes, I do actually. I have a whole section in my body, in my book, my body. That's interesting.
It's the same. That was
um,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, that talks about liquid wisdom, and the first three recipes are three types of water that I make. Infused
Okay.
aromatic waters. One has mint and fennel, and
Mm.
really, it's so delicious. You put the mint and the fennel. It's simple, and the water,
Hmm.
and you let it rest a few hours. until it's infused with the mint and fennel, and you drink it, and it's absolutely delicious.
Mm. It
You
sounds
know,
delicious. Oh my gosh, the freshness of both of those. It would be wonderful. Well, that's a great
yes.
tip. And I will take a look at the book and send those recommendations out to those individuals because I'm always bugging them to drink water. I'm the opposite. I'm a water drinker, so I do love my water. So, what is an easy way for someone to get started in this lifestyle? You said that you want to make things easy for individuals, especially in our hectic world. What would you recommend?
Think about making changes in a way that is fun for you, in a way that it's loving for you, and that works for you. How do we find that out? We have to feel joy in our hearts. It is not very good to make changes out of hating yourself and talking to yourself, oh, I've done all of these things wrong. I think make changes out of, I forgive myself. I know I can do this, and start being your own best teacher and your best coach and your best parent and your best sister and your best brother, and talk to yourself with love. Talk to yourself into doing things with love and
Mm.
watch what happens.
Yes, I love that. Well, there you go. Love, love. But you're right. We always we don't celebrate ourselves as much as we should. And when we speak to ourselves in a loving way and we feel that we're doing it for us, then I think it changes the whole discussion. Like you said at the beginning, you didn't want it to be a diet book or something to do with diet. It's more to do with love and spirituality. So I could see where that would come from. Speaking of sweetness, I'm curious, what would be a dessert that desserts without sugar? So there's some things in your book. What about desserts that have sugar?
Yes. Well, I do not recommend anything with sugar at all.
Okay.
Really, sugar is a poison to the human body. It truly is. It's already, it's bad for your teeth, it's bad for your pancreas, it's bad for your brain, because sugar is heroin to the brain. Yeah, that's how fast it gets to the brain. And the brain uses sugar to do all of its processing. But when you are accelerating this processing and the brain no longer can handle the energy, you see, then you have an addictive process in your whole body, not only
Mm,
starting with the brain, but in your whole body, that throws you off for life.
right.
So I always say, when you start finding out things like that about sugar or about oils that are pernicious for your arteries and your capillaries, you no longer see these oils or these sugars as a source of nutrition. You see them as they are, as poison.
Right, right. What about natural sugars in food, like dates, for example, or honeys, those kind of things?
Yes.
Are they the
Well,
same?
no, they go a little bit slower, but for the research that my teacher, Dr. Cousin, has done, if you're sick, whatever sickness that might be, it really doesn't work for until the body gets healthy. So a healing
Mm,
diet, okay, a healing nutrition, a healing lifestyle, it's with most of the natural sugars, yes, like fruits, maybe carrots sometimes, and maybe, it depends, and it's also individual, because
right.
it depends on where you are in your sickness, you see, in what phase
Hmm.
you are in the sickness, and it depends how your body repairs, you see, and all of that uh, goes back into the equation of how to individualize your nutrition, your diet, what happens to you, you know.
Right, right. That makes total sense. And yes, I know once you start digging into some of these ingredients, you don't even have to be convinced that it's something you shouldn't be eating. because you find out that it's really a toxin. And in your book, you also cover the importance of kitchenware and more. I found that very fascinating. Specific cutlery, appliances that are essential for live food cuisine. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yes, 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 yes. Well, after all of these years of me experimenting, believe me, I have bought every little trinket, and we don't really need a lot. That's the truth of the matter. Uh, we just need a good knife and a cutting board. It is good. A lot of people say, "Oh, Marcela, but it's so expensive." And I say, "Well, it's expensive to buy an oven that is cooking your food and you're not getting the nutrition." And it's much less expensive to set up a healthful kitchen,
Mm.
and back again is in the perspective that we look at things, and I put it in the book, all the appliances that I've tried through the years and the ones that I like. And for example, juicers, I put also the ones that I like and why I like them and what they do. And then if you need one that is not so expensive, if you need one that is, you know truly there is a myriad of things that you can be doing in terms of gadgets, to make your life easier in the kitchen. And I think that's important because I like to go into the kitchen, prepare, and I'm out of there, and then I'm on with everything else that I want to do in my life.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. And of course, my husband would love you too because he loved the gadgets. but but I love that you put your favorites and you know your one, two, three because that gives people a chance to you've already tested them and because there is so much available on the market today. But that is so helpful, and it's interesting that you say a juicer because that's on my wish list. I definitely juicing to me is fantastic, and I love it. I love fresh squeezed juices. So what message would you like to share with the world through your book? I know you've touched a little bit on it with your story at the beginning, but is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience? That what messages or message would you that you're the purpose of your book and why it was so important?
Yes. Well, the message that I want people to remember is that you are the temple.
Mm.
Your body, your mind, your bones, every cell of your body, it is where your soul and the divine spark is alive. And as you create this in your home, also in the way you cook, in the way you work, in the way you exercise, you bring a higher consciousness, making your life sacred. We create an energy that we can all enjoy. Yes, as you hopefully you will enjoy my book, you will see as you go through it, you realize the sacredness that can also exist in your house. And with this book, I want people to remember that, who they are.
Mm. And value that. it's
Yes.
it's value the life that you have here, and like you said, cherish it. I love that. That is so beautiful, Marcela. I have What would be your number one recommendation for someone who would want to upgrade their life, especially in these unusual times, through food?
Water, water, and salt. Very important.
Mm.
Keeping your body hydrated. It helps all of your organs heal faster. When you go to the hospital, what is that they do first? They put in
Hmm.
an IV. And what does the IV has?
Sailing.
Salt and water, saline. So
Hmm.
salt and water is very important. In terms of food, definitely the first advice, if you're not already on a healthy um, healthy path, take out sugars. Just that is not what you eat. What you stop eating is more important than what you eat, you
I
know?
love that.
you know, eliminate sugars, eliminate sodas. Yes. And then once you create the space for more vegetables, bring some more vegetables. Let them be organic. You see?
Mm,
Because you see,
yeah.
buying organic vegetables, it's not some kind of fad. It just
Mm-mm.
isn't. You see, this is truly good, not only for your body. When you're buying organic, you see, you're making the effort. Like I made the effort with this book that all the paper and everything that I did is sustainably produced, you know? And that was for me very important. So now in my life, and what I tell people in your life, as you come into consciousness that buying organic vegetables, you're not only creating a healthier space for you, you're creating a healthier space for the farmers that
Mm,
they're out there. You know, they don't have to be in
right.
contact with pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, which gets them sick because I have seen it. I've been in many, many, many farm places, and I see when we have food coming also from third world countries, you know, that they put
Yeah.
childrens in the fields,
Mm,
you know, without
yes.
shirts, so the planes can come and spray.
Mm,
Okay.
terrible.
And you see, so we are unconsciously participating in a lot of things where you don't realize that whatever makes you healthier, which is your benefit, you're benefiting also a market, you're benefiting the world, you're changing the world. So you do have power. You do have power in your choices, and your choices reverberate to the world, a humanity that we are creating through our everyday choices.
That, Marcella, is so powerful. Oh my gosh, that is what you said. It that's the oneness. That's the, how we can all help. We local markets, going to a local market is fantastic. And I have to say, we go at once a week, and I there is such a difference in the taste of the food. It actually has flavor, the vegetables,
Yeah.
as opposed to, when you often buy grocery store and it's not organic, it doesn't have hardly any flavor. It's very unusual, but that domino effect is how we can affect the world. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. That really is um, eye-opening. What can I say? I love that whole story that you just uncovered there. That's another reason to look into this wonderful book so that you can do all of that. What are you most excited about in your life now?
Ah, everything, every minute, you know, I'm excited about my next book. I'm excited that next Thursday I'm going to go to the beach and have a day at the beach. I'm excited that my daughter is graduating um, from philosophy and neurocognitive science, and she's going to go to naturopathic school. I'm elated about that, and she's such an amazing being. I'm excited to see my son tonight, who's coming back from with his wife from a wedding, and
Wonderful.
yes, yes, and I'm excited to celebrate my husband's birthday today. How about that?
Oh, happy birthday to your husband.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Yes, you're excited about life. That's, to me,
Yes,
that's what that says. And yes, so very exciting when things are growing and learning. And like you said, we're always, that's what we're here to, is to learn and to grow. I mean, it's when we stop that we actually, whether we're physically old or not, that we actually start to die. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we need to keep growing and learning and enjoying life. So, do you have any last words, Marcella, that you would love to share with our audience?
yes, yes, definitely. I want to share that if you do have local bookstores and you want to see my book near you, to please go to your local bookstore and ask them to order it for you. You know, although the book it is distributed to all the big distribution venues. I always say that please, through you knowing this, if you like it, go to your local bookstore. We have to help our local people to stay because they are our charm. They make our neighborhoods, they make our spaces better. It is so nice to go to your local bookstore and see what you like and say hello to people, and hopefully what I have to say is I hope that this book brings a newborn joy and a newborn inspiration for you to follow the path of health you need to find.
Beautiful. I love that. And I do agree with you 100% about our local stores that aren't part of the chains because they are the lifeblood of this country. It's what's made the world great is entrepreneurship and those that have these little stores and communities where people can go and you meet and greet all these individuals. It's just so important because connection is everything. And one last question I have for you, Marcela, because we are here on the Epic Vision Zone. If your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
Love, peace, and vegetables.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, that makes
Definitely
total
epic.
sense. Oh my gosh. Well, yes, that makes complete sense. What I certainly agree with you whatsoever. So I wanted to thank you once again, Marcela, for joining us, and be sure to check out Marcela's extraordinary book. Once again, I will hold it up for you because it is truly a masterpiece. And it's not just that it looks good and inviting, because it does look like an invitation, but it has so much information. It is a reference book. It's a resource book. And as I was saying to Marcela earlier, you could actually pass this down to your family and have your family share it because it really is magnificent, and the recipes, et cetera, et cetera. And go and check out Marcela's website at marcela.love.com for more information. And you can find all of her contact information on her bio page at the Epic Vision Zone. Be sure to check me out on Instagram at Jane Applegath and check out how you can become an epic entrepreneur at janeapplegath.com and download my free information on my website. This is the Epic Vision Zone, transforming your dream into epic success.